So, Scott, what are some things that people can do now to lessen the or prevent the damage of their boats going into hurricane season for boats that are, say, stored in the water, ashore, maybe on a boat lift, stuff like that? What do you think they can do?
The best advice I can say is do something. That's the big problem, is motivating people, understanding a hurricane's coming in. They have a lot of other things to do, worry about the family, worry about the property. But the biggest thing to do is to do something, and do something now. It starts long before a storm approaches the coast. And that's getting together the hurricane plan wherever you may be planning on putting your boat. Now, we've found through the years that the best way to reduce damage, the potential for damage, is to get the boat out of the water. So, everybody
Hmm.
listening, if you can get the boat out of the water from wherever it is, that is the number one thing you're going to do to reduce damage or reduce the chances for damage. But we know that's not possible. That's not possible for everybody. Every marina can't haul every boat in time for a storm. So then look at how you're going to take your boat and protect it further, whether it's in a marina or a canal, whether it's on a boat lift, whether even when you take it out of the water, where you're going to put it away from trees. All these options should be based on your hurricane plan that if you have an insurance policy, your insurance company is going to want to know your hurricane plan. And by the way, if you don't follow your plan, some insurance companies may even exclude coverage. For instance, your hurricane plan, you said you're going to get your boat out of the water. It's not out of the water. You could be in trouble with your insurance company. So do something,
Mm.
get that plan together, which whichever way that boat's going to, so many boats are different. Well, I can't get it out of a canal. It's going to have to be in my marina. I tell people, let's just start with the marina. Assess the marina. Is there a lot of scope? Is it prone to wave action and wind action? Those are the really trouble spots. But then all the other things behind it. Where's all the materials to protect that boat? The chafe protection, the extra lines. Does your marina have a hurricane club? Can you get a priority haul out? If you're not going to get
Mm.
a haul out, what is everybody else doing around you? You know, it. I was talking to one of our claims folks guys, and he said it works better when everyone does something together. And I remember this lesson in Hurricane Ike. I was watching a salvage operation in a marina, and there was one boat that did not do anything. They left the boat tied up with all the windage. The sails were still on it, and that boat
Oh,
basically became a bowling ball and damaged every other boat down the marina lane when it became loose. And all those other people had done their protection. So, again, what's your plan now before the storm comes in? How are you going to address it? Are you going to put the boat away from trees? Preferably store it on above the high water line, protected high water line. Canals, are you working together to spider web with your neighbors? How are you all going to? I can't tell you how many boats we've seen on canals. People tie them up. They don't do much to tie them up, and they end up on somebody's lawn or taken out a lanai or something like that, and they have damage. So, lifts. I'll finish up real quickly. Lifts are a troubled issue with a lot of boat owners and hurricanes, because you're sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't. I go back to what I originally said. Don't leave it in the lift. Get it out of the water. Get it to high ground if you can. But if you can't, we found what a lot of folks do is just leave the boat in the lift. And a lot of boats in this
hmm.
last hurricane season just shifted as the water and the surge came up, and they got knocked around in the lift. The water went down, and now the boat fell out of the lift and is a total loss simply because it got jostled. So, again, if you're in a lift, you may want to leave the plug in. You may, depending on the surge, and you should definitely secure it to the lift. All these kinds of things you should start thinking about now, and getting all the equipment together, the extra lines, and talking to your neighbors and talking to your marina or boat club.
Yeah, I like what you said there about having the working together as a community because there's a lot of people in think about all the snowbirds that are in Florida that you got a home down there, you got a boat down there, you keep it on a lift, this, that, and the other, but maybe you spend the summers up north. Hurricane season's during the summertime when you're not there. So having that communication with, a neighbor or somebody that I mean, even if you pay somebody, hey, I'm gonna pay you, a couple $100. You go get my boat, you take it to the marina, you pay for the hurricane thing, they take the boat out,
Mm-hmm.
and now you kind of like you're prepared there. It's like you said, it's the planning. Make sure you come up with a plan today, and then whenever a storm's coming in, all you do is you work your plan. You're not really, kind of.
It's just implementing
coming
it.
up with it.
Right. You're not
Mhm.
starting from scratch. And what you just said a moment ago, if the absentee owners, we saw a lot of that down in Southwest Florida. Folks just don't simply aren't around all the time. Check your
Mhm.
insurance policy, because you may have a feature in that policy that helps move that boat, help assist to pay to move the boat either out of the water. I know our policies will pay up
Oh.
to $1,000 to haul the boat because we don't want to see any damage. But you can also potentially use that money for a captain to move that boat to a hurricane hole or other protective measures, especially if you're not in town.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That
Yep.
you think about insurance policies, it's like, yeah, I've heard the one where you got to get the boat out of the water or it will mess up, but then I've never heard of the one where it might have some coverage in there to haul the boat where they pay for the hauling block or whatever.
Absolutely.
I didn't hear that. That's good to know about
Short
that.
term, we call it hurricane haul out coverage. That's what people should be looking for.
And
Mm.
when it comes to policies, I think another thing people fail to note is many policies have either A, navigation limits, or B, layup periods. We've seen a
Mm.
number of cases where somebody under their policy is not allowed to be south of a certain line after a certain date. Coverage is then suspended because they voided that clause in their insurance policy. Or a lot of boats have a haul out clause or a layup clause by November 1st or November 15th. And certainly in the Northeast, we're known to get our nor'easters up here, which are similar to hurricanes. And we've seen coverage completely decline because that insurance policy did not cover in the water after November 1st.
Yeah. So just kind of knowing your policy if you have insurance, because if you don't have insurance, then the planning is even much more important because
Very much.
you got no coverage.
There's no backstop.
Hey there, sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, did you know that on average a boat owner will spend between $1,000 and $5,000 a year just on servicing their engine? And you could actually pocket and save a lot of that money if you would just do the service yourself. It might seem like a daunting task, but I guarantee you virtually everyone can do it with our guidance and the Boaters program. This is just one skill that you could learn inside the program because we have hundreds of other videos teaching you all kinds of boating skills, as well as a weekly live stream where we have questions and answers with me, as well as a chat feature where you can send videos and pictures, ask all kinds of questions, or look for some advice or some guidance on a project that you're doing on your boat. You can join the program by hitting the first link in the description, clicking join, or visiting bornagainboating.com. Now back to the video.